how to import sales receipts into QuickBooks. Now, I'm talking about QuickBooks Desktop. So it could be QuickBooks Pro, QuickBooks Premier, QuickBooks Accountant, or QuickBooks Enterprise. If you work with QuickBooks Online, you have to check out a different video for that. So if you actually happen to have data on a spreadsheet that looks like this and contains information about sales receipts, maybe you downloaded this from a website or a shopping cart, or you have some other system that's logging in sales information, and you have information like client's name, the item, the quantity, the amount, that sort of thing. And we want to bring that into QuickBooks to look like a sales receipt, the one you're looking on the screen, and you don't want to sit there and type it. So that's what this whole video is about. How do I get the data from Excel into QuickBooks by importing it? So let me start. I'm going to delete the one that I have on the screen here for a second. I'm going to hit back and forward just to make sure that I don't have anything else. So I literally have no sales receipts in QuickBooks at the moment. Okay, I'm going to click on Reports, Company Financial Profit and Loss, just to show you that this is a completely blank file. It has no data. So as I import it, we're actually going to see the information being populated in here. So I'm going to start by using a program called Transaction Pro Importer. This is a $200 program that you have to buy, and you can import data from almost every transaction type. You can import invoices, sales receipts, bills, all sorts of things with this program that you spend $200 for, and it works really, really well. And I'm also, at the end of this, I'm going to show you how to do it without the software, which is kind of a complicated process, but I'll show you how to do it with something called an IIF file. So obviously this program makes it a lot easier to work with, but I'll show you both. So I opened up the program, and just for the record, this is a spreadsheet that we want to import, right? This spreadsheet contains transaction dates, customer information, address information, transaction number, account, payment method number, class information, inventory, quantity, amount, description. And of course, your file is going to look way different because, we source all these sales information files from all different sources. So this is one that I put together to make it pretty easy to read. But if you're downloading transactions from Amazon or Shopify or some other system, everyone is going to look very different. So you're going to have to work with the Excel spreadsheet, clean it up and organize it in such a way that it's easy and clean like this, so we can actually import it. Anyway, so let me go ahead and open up the program, Transaction Pro Importer. I'm going to start by clicking on Browse, and I'm going to select the spreadsheet, whatever I have it in my computer that I want to import. Then I'm going to click on Open. Then I'm going to tell it which sheet, and assuming that there are multiple sheets in an Excel file, which sheet we're going to be using. In this case, it's going to be just the one sheet that we have. And then we're going to select the import type. So this is where we're going to tell it what transaction type we're going to be importing. And as you notice, you can import almost every transaction type with this program. So it's actually a really nice piece of software. So we're going to pick here sales receipt, because that's what we want to use. And then we're going to go ahead and click on Next. So after it does that, we're going to get sort of a quick preview of the data that was brought into the software. It hasn't been imported yet. It's just kind of letting you know that's the information that it read. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on Next. And then we're going to do what's called the mapping. Now, right now, I've pre-did the mapping on my own. That basically I picked field by field to match it with the spreadsheet. I'm going to go ahead and clear it just to show you. I'm going to do the whole thing from scratch so you can see how that works. So we have no mapping done, and that's how is it going to look in your computer when you set this up for the first time. And essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to translate the data that's on Excel into sort of like QuickBooks data. So for example, we have the transaction date here on the first column, and we have here a field that says transaction date. That's where we're going to say, okay, that's going to be the one that's called date, right? So that's what we're doing. We're saying transaction date is the field in QuickBooks, and date is the field in the spreadsheet. So then we got customer, which happens to be the same name on the spreadsheet. And then we got reference number, which on the spreadsheet is called number or NUM. Okay, so of course every spreadsheet is going to be different. Then we got payment method, and again, some of these fields are not going to be on your spreadsheet. Some you're going to skip, right? So like for example, that payment method was the same thing as this payment method here. Okay, then we're going to do check number, which in this case we called it payment number. Okay, so QuickBooks calls it check number, and in my spreadsheet it's called payment number. Again, we're translating from the spreadsheet into QuickBooks fields. So we're going to go through the ones that we actually have. Like, you don't have to actually use every single field. As a matter of fact, only the red ones are the required ones. So we're going to just use the ones that we have, and I'm just kind of going through and selecting all the fields that we do happen to have in our spreadsheet. Let me see what else we got here. I'll keep scrolling down, see what we got. Okay, so we got item. Okay, definitely we need item. So I'm going to select item, and I think I happen to have item in that. I do. Okay, so there's item, and then we got quantity. So we'll keep working on that, quantity. And then we have item description. So item description, perfect. And then we got our price. Okay, that our price, it's called amount. Let's just double check that. So we're going into our spreadsheet here and see, yep, so it's called amount in the spreadsheet, and it's called price in QuickBooks. So we have to make that mapping there. So we got, where is it, amount. And then we have deposit to, which is our deposit account for our sales receipt. And then we have our item class. Okay, we actually need that as well. So let's pick class here. And I don't think we need everything else in here. Again, you don't have to use all the fields. You pick and choose what fields you want to use. So once I'm done with that, if I'm going to be importing the same spreadsheet over and over, I want to save the mapping. So I'm going to go to Save As and just call it SR from Amazon map or something like that. I don't know where it's from, but you're saving it so you can recall it later on. That way you don't have to do this process of mapping each field one at a time in the future. So we're going to go ahead and click on Next. It gives you a quick preview of what the QuickBooks fields are versus what the Excel spreadsheet fields are. So then we're going to hit Next. And then next, really anything else that we have to do. And then it tells you, are you sure you want to begin doing this? We're going to go ahead and click OK. So that's going to do it in the background. I'm going to switch over to QuickBooks just so we can kind of see the stuff that's coming in. And notice that now we actually had some sales come in. So I can double click that number, and we see that there was 2 sales receipts created. So I can click on any of these sales receipts here, and we see exactly how that data was imported. So you see all the fields that came in. So that's actually pretty great. I mean, I got to tell you, this program here called Transaction Pro Importer, it's a great deal. It's about $200. I don't know if the price changes by the time you watch this video. I'll put the link below in the description on how to get to it. And now I'm going to show you how to do this without using an importing tool. Now this is going to get a little bit hairy, so you're going to have to pay attention to the details one by one. So I'm going to go ahead and close the software altogether, and I'm going to delete the sales receipts we have. So I'm going to get rid of that and get rid of that. And I'll go back and pull up the profit and loss again. So you see we have actually absolutely nothing in there. And I'm going to open up a file that I have, which is called a salesreceipts.iif. So I'm going to show you what that file looks like, and we'll kind of talk about what it takes to put that together. So this is called a sales receipt template. So I have this file preset that you're seeing on the screen. I have this file preset, and the fields are set in such a way that if you have the data in Excel, you can copy and paste some of the fields, and it can import in here. So the IIF file needs to look exactly like this. You can't change anything. It has to be identical to what you're seeing on the screen. So you're going to have to build this on your own if you want to build it in Excel. So you'll build this on your own, and it has to look exactly the way it looks on the screen. So I'm just going to leave it up on the screen so you can create it on your own if you want to. I actually sell this template for $27. So if you actually want to get this template exactly as you're seeing it, I'll put the link below, and you can go and you can buy the template if you want. And yes, I sell it because it took me hours and hours to figure out how to put this thing together. But in theory, you could just copy from the video and create your own spreadsheet, and it should work just fine. So I'm just gonna move the fields around a little bit so you know exactly what it's like. So anyway, so that's what that looks like. So I'm gonna show you in contrast what it looks like from the original spreadsheet. So on your original clean spreadsheet, you're gonna have information like the date of the transaction. We're gonna have information like the customer name and the 4 additional address lines and the transaction number and the income account that the sales receipt is going to hit, and the undeposited funds account to deposit, payment method, ship method. We're gonna have the payment number. We're gonna have the class. We're gonna have the item, the quantity, the amount. Again, this may vary on your own spreadsheet. The description, the sales receipt memo, the rep, whether it's printable or whether you want to email it. So this is what my clean template looks like. And then just in contrast, what my IIF file looks like. This is the one that you would have to set up to import. Notice what the fields are. So we have this thing here called transaction type. That needs to say cash sale. Don't ask. That's what QuickBooks calls sales receipts in the IIF file. Here you're going to put the date. And notice that there's a split. So right here it says TRNS all the way to NTRNS. That's one transaction. That's how QuickBooks knows it's a single transaction. And then you see TRNS and NTRNS. That's how it's a separate transaction. So this is essentially 2 sales receipts. This is sales receipt 101 and sales receipt 102. Then you have to make sure that the amounts are in negative, and because these are credits, so you're gonna put the amounts in negative, and then on the top part you're gonna sum up the 2 if you have individual items, sum them up on the first line, and then the math between this and this has to be balanced. You're gonna see the memo here, which is the individual item memos or descriptions and the overall transaction memo. You're gonna see the quantity, the price, inventory items. For now, I'm leaving sales tax out of it. Sales tax is a bit more complicated. But so this is exactly what it needs to look like. And again, if you pause and slow down the video, you see exactly what all the components are. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this this file because I'm assuming that I modified it or I copy and pasted some of the data from my clean spreadsheet. So once you have this file, the template ready to go, then you go into QuickBooks and notice that I have no data here. So I'm gonna go to File, Utilities, Import, and then I'll click here where it says IIF file. I'll pick the template that I had that I modified and added the information, click Open, and now we should see the transactions come in just as well. So if you got patient to like deal with Excel files and stuff like that, then use an IIF template. Otherwise, I would probably recommend that you use the actual program that I use, Transaction Pro Importer, to import. Anyway, if you're looking to import other things like invoices, purchase orders, bills, checks, you name it, I'm gonna make a whole slew of videos that explains how to do that with Transaction Pro Importer and with the IIF templates. But for now, this is your sales receipts. I hope that you liked it. Click like, subscribe to the channel, add some comments below. What would you like to see next? And if you need the template, click the link below and purchase it. Thanks.